that a thief is punished when arrested. He refrains from threats. A less intelligent person may first have to be arrested and punished for stealing to learn to stop stealing. However, a rascal, a foolish man, may have the experience of both hearing and seeing, and may even be punished, but still he continues to steal. Even if such a person atones and is punished by the government, he will again commit theft as soon as he comes out of jail. If punishment in jail is considered atonement, then what is the benefit of such atonement? Parishad Maharaj compared atonement to elephant's bathing. Elephant may take a very nice bath, but as soon as it comes out on the bank, it throws dirt all over its body. What is the value of bathing? Similarly, many spiritual practitioners chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and at the same time commit many forbidden things, thinking that chanting will counteract their offenses. Of the 10 types of offenses one may commit while chanting the holy name of the Lord, this offense is called Nam Nobala Yasya Papa Buddhi, committing sinful acts on the strength of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, certain Christians go to the church to confess their sins, thinking that confessing their sins before a priest and performing some penance will relieve them from the results of their weekly sins. As soon as Saturday is over, Sunday comes, they again begin their sinful activities, expecting to be forgiven the next Saturday. This kind of prayashit is condemned by Parikshit Maharaj, the most intelligent king of his time. Sukadeva Goswami, equally intelligent as befitting the spiritual master, Parikshit Maharaj answered the king and confirmed that his statement regarding atonement was correct. Sinful activity cannot be counteracted by a pious activity. Real prayashchitta is the awakening of our dormant Krishna consciousness. Real atonement involves coming to real knowledge, and for this, there is a standard process. When one follows a regulated hygienic process, he does not fall sick. A human being is meant to be trained according to certain principles to revive his original knowledge. Such a methodical life is described as tapasya. One may be gradually elevated to the standard of real knowledge of Krishna consciousness by practicing austerity and celibacy, brahmacharya, by controlling the mind and the senses, by giving up one's possessions and charity, by being avowedly truthful, keeping clean and practicing yoga. However, if one is fortunate enough to get the association of a pure devotee, he easily surpasses all the practices for controlling the mind. By the mystic yoga process, simply by following the regulative principles of Krishna consciousness, refraining from illicit sex, meditating, gambling, intoxication, and by engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master. This easy process is being recommended by Sri Rupa Goswami. First, one must control his speaking power. Every one of us has the power of speech as soon as we get an opportunity to begin to speak. If we do not speak about Krishna consciousness, we speak all sorts of nonsense. A toad in a field speaks by croaking, and similarly, everyone who has a tongue wants to speak, even if all one has to say is nonsense. The croaking of the toad, however, simply invites a snake, please come here and eat me. Nevertheless, although it is inviting death, the toad goes on croaking. The attack of the materialistic man and the impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers may be compared to the croaking of frogs. They are always speaking nonsense and thus inviting death to catch them. Controlling speech, however, does not mean self-imposed silence, the external process of mourner, as Mayavadi philosophers think. Silence may be good sometimes, but ultimately proves a failure. The The meaning of controlled speech can reinforce inner Goswami advocates the positive process of Krishna Katha, engaging in the speaking process in glorifying the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. The tongue can glorify the unique form qualities, pastimes of the Lord. The preacher of the Krishna Katha is always beyond the pleasures of death. This is the significance of controlling virtues. The Shastras also explain that the materialistic people many a times, whenever they land up into a precarious predicament, or whenever they land up into problematic situation, then they try to do some reaction to overcome it. But this reaction is only superficially done because the mindset, the vision, the consciousness is only superficial from a materialistic point of view. So we see this atonement also lies in this category of makeshift, superficial solution. Do something a little bit to just get rid of it. So that kind of so therefore the Shastras gives this example that the anarthas in one's life, the anarthas, they grow like weeds grow, like that the anarthas are growing in people's lives, the anarthas.
And many times when people see weeds, they just cut the weed with a sword kind of thing, or that rounded sword, sickle. Yeah, that rounded. So they just cut it. But then what happens is that the weeds are gone. But for how many days? Only for 3, 4 days. Again it comes up. Again it comes up. So the weed has to be uprooted from the root. Therefore, the point is that the weed has to be uprooted from the root. And only if the weed is uprooted from the root, can the weed not come again. And not only is the weed to be uprooted from the root, the real cultivation of the real plant has to be done. Because if nothing is there, again the weed comes. So the superficial chopping of techniques will not do. Many times the firefighting hedonistic approach which the materialistic people adopt is this superficial chopping off by the sickle. That's it. They say just get rid of the problem, done with it, finished, forget it. Again that problem comes back, just a matter of time. Because a root cause solution requires a root cause sthiti. If one is situated on the causal plane, then only one can change the cause. If one is situated on the plane of the effects, where is the question of changing the cause? If one is watching a movie, one cannot change the content of the movie. Is it not? Can one? Similarly, if one has sold himself or herself out to the three modes of material nature, one cannot change the movie of one's life. To change the movie of one's life, one has to sell himself to the Supreme Lord, not to the modes of material nature. So the effectual plane cannot bring about any change. And that is why Parishit Maharaj is very rightly pointing out this kind of atonement is not going to make any change. Sometimes when people So you see, Prabhupada is speaking about this Saturday purification of the Christians. They want to do all kind of nonsense beginning from Sunday because they know that on Saturday they will go and dump everything on the priest and bishop and Jesus and Mary and everybody, and then again start their next chapter of sins. This kind of approach is not going to work out. So the point which Srila Prabhupada is mentioning here is very relevant. The point is that a spiritual life cannot be attained by any stunts. Spiritual life cannot be attained with any stunts. So sometimes one feels that okay, uh, uh, I'm too much in Maya. Then one come and dumps himself in the temple. That'll help, but not absolutely. But not absolutely. So one may be in the temple, but where is one's heart? Where is one's mind? Where is one's senses? That is important. So sometimes person thinks, okay, let me try to. So one of achievements may very much work like atonements. Like one says, okay, I have done some wrong. Let me do some prayashita, some austerity, some sacrifice for some time till I achieve this, and then it is done. The moment we tag it as done, from that moment degradation again starts, purification again starts. So it was like an atonement. For some devotees, it may be initiation, that all enthusiasm, all stunts, everything is there for initiation. For some devotees, I used to see in various voices, it was just to become, to get a post in the voice. So the devotee was most enthusiastic till he was made OC. After he became OC, he became a Lala, you know, Grand Lala, like that. Not doing anything, simply taking prasad and, shooting commands and critics and making commentaries and, and like that. So, yeah, so I was very afraid of this Lalagiri, right from the very beginning, like that. Therefore, we didn't make that kind of a culture here. So, the whole point is we see then what was that all that fervor? All that fervor is very much like atonement. That I'm doing just a sacrifice. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying that no such stunts are going to work. No such one-time arrangements are going to work. Oh, I will make it up. This makeup doesn't happen. That doesn't work out. You know, this makeup doesn't work out. So the makeup is not required. The shake-up is required. So that is why Prabhupada is telling that a systematic process has to be followed. Getting rid of the anarthas is not an easy game. One may think, I'll kick the mind with my boots and it'll be thrown off out of the territory of any disturbance. It is not going to happen. We cannot kick off the mind. It doesn't work out. You may think I have given a kick, but the mind comes back with dual force, back again, exploding all our bases and roots like that. So we cannot kick. Therefore, we cannot kick. What to do? All we can do is the systematic process. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying systematic process, standard process has to be followed. So you cannot kick it off. You cannot kick. You can only stick to the standard process. That is the point. Srila Prabhupada is explaining. So, what is the standard process? Srila Goswami is explaining the standard process is regulation and control. These six Vegas, which I describe, they actually come as bombs and explode once footing in spiritual life. That's what they do. That is why they're called as Vegas. All of a sudden they come, they get dropped, boom, it explodes. And one may say, hey, I used to be a devotee at one time. What happened? I used to be the most enthusiastic fellow at one time. What happened? I used to be the most terrific and dynamic preacher at one time. What happened? No? How many days have passed? So this is how the Vegas come in our life and explode. Boom! It explodes. So one cannot say no. No, and combat is not possible. Impossible to combat. When the mind is charging, can we give a competition? Can we give a challenge to the mind? Impossible. Impossible. Therefore, the standard process has to be followed all the time. We have to create such a tight net of regulation around us that when these Vegas are in their attack, then they don't explode our existence. That is why the standard process of regulation is recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. Therefore, these six practices are very, very foundational to save ourselves from the onslaughts and the fury of the anarthas. Because anarthas are not going to go away so easily. Time and again they will pop out. It is also explained like Ravana's heads, they keep popping out, they keep popping out. And no matter how much we fight, it doesn't go away. So, therefore, these six Vegas have to be worked upon all the time, round the clock. So, if our standard systematic workout is round the clock, when any one of the Vegas is on the high spike, it will get diffused because of that steady practice. The first one being described here is Vachu Vega, the urge to speak. See, the urge to speak is very much related with, is the opposite of the urge to hear or the eagerness to hear. The more is the urge to speak, the less is the proclivity to hear. So here, Prashita Prabhupada is quoting the example of the frog which is croaking and inviting the death, the snake of the death. Because by the croaking of the frog, the snake locates the coordinates of the frog and goes right there and eats him up. But the frog doesn't stop croaking. Avachavekam is like everyone tries to brag oneself off. To everyone wants to brag about oneself. So this bragging is very much Vachavekam. Yeah, brag about oneself. The spiritual life, there is no scope of any kind of false pride or boasting, or there is no scope actually. We may boast, but we will understand it doesn't work in my own life. As long as we keep boasting, as long as we keep uh, we can experience that it is not working in our own lives as well. What to say of anything else? Krishna consciousness will work when we give up boasting. and we are ready to learn. Because when one is ready to learn, then actually the bhakti has very subtle fabrics and they cannot be caught very easily. Not anybody and everybody can catch it. It's subtle, it is simple, but it is very subtle. And that subtle aspect to catch requires the tendency, the eagerness to learn. And that is why Vachavekam is explained with this very horrifying analogy of the croaking of the frog. Limit your talk to Krishna Katha. And actually, the Acharyas explain that Krishna Katha also, the eagerness to speak and the eagerness to hear should be the same. Not that when we want to give class, it is a 3 hour class. Some AMs used to do that. When they would give class to the boys, it would be 3 hours class. When Radhesham Prabhu would go, they will give a strict timing. Prabhu, 60 minutes. 60. 60. On 50 minutes only, they would start sending the cheat. Prabhu, wind up. Be ready. Sorry. You know, like that. So that is not a wise game. The eagerness to speak and the eagerness to hear should be, I mean, this is the same. The eagerness should be for Krishna Gatha. And by default, the first priority goes to hearing. And there's nobody else to speak, then one can speak. That's fine. What can be done? So therefore, actually, Rai Shambhu says Krishna has given us one tongue and 2 ears. That means we should hear double and speak half. That's how the balance. So there should be eagerness to hear, not to speak. Many times people have their own thought, their own opinion, their own everything. So, people, anybody, everybody, uh, just like we used to preach in IIMs in 2007, I think, Bangalore. Very difficult to preach there. Why? Because nobody would hear. You speak 2 lines, they would speak for 15 minutes. They'll say, oh, uh, you're talking about the Puranas? Oh, I'll speak. Na? Oh, you're talking about Vedanta Sutra? Oh, I'll speak. This commentary, that commentary. Na? Oh, you're speaking about soul, but this philosopher says this, that philosopher. Let's discuss, let's argue it out. But to complete one device session, it would take more than a month. What to do? There's one point you want to drive, so very difficult. And so Vachavegam, you see, that is all Vachavegam. And Prabhupada is saying external mana is not going to work. Mm. External mana is nothing actually. That is why the immediate next point which will come is Manasavegam. External mana is nothing. Inside out, what is happening is very important. So sometimes, yeah, like I remember one time I was in train. There were three, four no, gentlemen. They were, I don't know. Initially, I was watching them. It seemed that they were practicing some dramatics or something. Then, then I understood. Oh, they're not practicing dramatics. It's dumb arts. Uh, then I realized they were actually dumb people. They were actually dumb people, all four of them. But so they were signaling to each other something something, and the other person saying, and then he was doing something something, and then and something something. Hours and hours they were just doing that. So. Anytime you look at them, they are like this. They're doing something, like that, and then, like that, and hours and hours and hours and hours, So what Prabhupada is saying is very true. I realized, when Prabhupada is speaking, that external mana with this impersonalist talk about doesn't work. The external mana will be there, but internally, uh, so the external mana, the internal, so many things are going on. Internally, so many things are going on like that. So this is all Vachavekam actually. So I remember IM boys, there used to be one strategy which I learned by realization. Was that the only way to give them something was that you just ignite a topic and you have to tolerate next 1.5 hours. Be quiet, just tolerate. Not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. And don't hear, means 1 year, next year, like that. After 1.5 hours, when they would get tired, you know, you know, because then you can speak 30, 40 minutes. So, so Vachavekam is a very strong force actually. And you see, the more the false ego, the more, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 7 days he was quiet? Why do you think Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not speak a word for 7 days? Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Why do you think was it like that? Because Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was the head priest. He was a very big position. He was a very great scholar. And therefore, is no, the more scholar, the more the bigger the position, the more is the false ego. It took 7 days for it to deflate. Like that. And then Srila Bhattacharya is asking Mahaprabhu, Bhuja ki na bhuja, iha bhujite na pari. Did you understand? I'm not able to understand whether he understood or not. And Mahaprabhu said, understanding? Boom, like that, A little bit Mahaprabhu spoke, Bhattacharya was flat. He was immediately transformed. Why? Because his ego was deflated. He had so much because he was a big scholar. The 7 days it took for him to deflate. This is Vachavegam. You see, this is Vachavegam. So bigger the head, the bigger the ego, the bigger the Vachavegam. The person says, no, no, no. मेरा सुनो मैंने शास्त्र में क्या समझा है ना? Who can teach me the Shastras? I have read Bhagavatam 3 times. मैं बताता हूँ. Like that. So the Vachavegam, the point is that Vachavegam is the first principle because if Vachavegam is there, it becomes like a dam and shield. It doesn't allow anything else to penetrate. Therefore, the Vachavegam has to be cut down. That's why the Vachavegam has to be cut down, actually. The They're very dangerous. Because as long as this mentality is there, the tendency to just speak and no, my own opinion, my way of thinking, my way of analysis, uh, nothing is sinking in. And if something is not going inside, where the transformation going to come? If you eat the medicine, then the disease will get cured. Now you're not eating only. Then where is the medicine going to work? Like that. That's why Vachvegam has to be curbed down. So we have to understand That's why Prabhupada said this devotee, he said what the devotee was saying, no? Uh, so the devotee was saying, no, Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. Prabhupada said, stop it, nonsense. You are not the most anything. You're simply insignificant. Sit down. Why? Because in anything, one tries to, occupy that corner space, that space that, okay, I'm great. And as soon as one occupies that space, one starts radiating. Abhi mera suno, my trumpet, like that. And and as long as that is happening, then one is not. Uh, uh, then one cannot benefit. Then one cannot hear. The medicine is not yet started working. Then, so that's Vachuvegam. The second one is Manasavegam. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport. The fickleness of the mind is controlled when one can fix the mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. Krishna is just like the sun, Maya is just like darkness. If the sun is present, there is no question of darkness. Similarly, if Krishna is present in the mind, there is no possibility of the minds being agitated by Maya's influence. The yogic process of negating all the material thoughts will not help. To try to create a vacuum in the mind is artificial. The vacuum will not remain. However, if one always thinks of Krishna and how to serve Krishna best, one's mind will naturally be controlled. Now, Prabhupada is saying similarly, anger can be controlled. We can stop anger altogether. But if we simply become angry with those who blaspheme the Lord or the devotees of the Lord, we control our anger in Krishna consciousness. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry with the miscreant brothers, Jagai and Madhai, who blasphemed and struck Nityananda Prabhu. In his Shishanshtakam, Lord Chaitanya wrote, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorupa Suhishnana. One should be humbler than a grass, more tolerant than a tree. One may then ask why the Lord exhibited his anger. The point is that one should be ready to tolerate all insults to one's own self, but when Krishna or his pure devotee is blasphemed, a genuine devotee becomes angry and acts like a fire against offenders. Krodha or anger cannot be stopped, but it can be applied rightly. It was in anger that Hanumanji set fire to Lanka, but he is worshipped as the greatest devotee of Lord Ramachandra. This means that he utilized his anger in the right way. Arjuna serves as another example. He was not willing to fight, but Krishna incited his anger. You must fight. To fight without anger is not possible. Anger is controlled, however, when utilized in the service of the Lord. So we see Manasa Vegam. When mind is very restless, mind is thinking here, there, everywhere. What is the result of that? One is nowhere. The mind is thinking at one moment, oh, uh, I'll go to United States. I will earn $100 million. 50 million I'll give to ISKCON. Like that, the mind thinks one day. Another day, the mind thinks, oh, you know, let me just join the temple, and I will, explore the preaching like that. Another day, the mind is thinking, something else. The mind is always thinking here, there, everywhere. What is the result? This devotee is not doing anything in Krishna consciousness. One day, the mind thinks, I'll become the best preacher. No, what Gaur Gopalpur, what Jay Shetty, I will be the, I will this thing them, surpass and all that. Another day, person is thinking, uh, uh, no, I'll become a Kathavachak. Verses will come out like that, like that. Therefore, let me learn Sanskrit. Another day, one is thinking, let me go into Acharya's commentaries. Another day, one is thinking, let me write my own commentary. Means my own book, like that. So, what is the result? Uh, the result is this devotee will not be able to steadily do any service. Uh-huh. The restlessness of the mind. Sometimes one is thinking, oh, I'll become such a kirtaniya, like that. Another day, one is singing, no? I'll open 10 temples in a row now, no? So, this is Manasa Vegam. The mind is very restless. In Hindi, it is called as Khayali Pulao. What is the result? Person is still hungry. Pulao ban gaya hai. Pulao ban gaya hai. Pulao? Pulao is made. Person still hungry. It was Khayali Pulao. The pulao was made in the mind. So everybody is saying, Prabhu, where is the feast? He said, okay, I already served the feast to all of you. Everybody is hungry. So nothing is done. And not like that. So this is Manasa Vegam. The Manasa Vegam has to be controlled. It has to be controlled. So this internal dialogue has to be controlled. Why? Because the social scientists say 80% of our internal dialogue is all negative. As so the social science research proves, 80% of our internal dialogue has to be controlled. And 99% of the time we are in internal dialogues. And 80% of it is negative. So how much negative we have incurred. That is the point. So therefore the internal dialogue, the Manasa Vegam has to be controlled. The Manasa Vegam has to be controlled. We cannot say, what can I do? Mind is voracious. Our mind is voracious, but what are we doing? You have to do something about it. Not that no, with chanting it will get purified. No, that is okay. With chanting it will get purified, but can we put some efforts to accelerate that? That's the point. Like one cannot just eat the medicine and not follow the prohibitions, not follow the prescriptions. Everything has to be done. So similarly, we have to do efforts and struggle to be able to control the mind. So the mind, manasa vegam, very strong. So you see, the just like now, if you see the uh, just like you see the Chakravyu. Now, in Mahabharat, Abhimanyu was trapped in the Chakravyu, not to come out. Like that, we have to trap the mind in the Chakravyu. That cannot come out. It is very restless. It is very voracious, but it has to be trapped very solid. It has to be trapped very solid because it has a tendency of getting hooked here and there, and it has a tendency of pulling us off track. Very powerful enemy and foe. The mind. The mind has to be controlled. How can the mind be controlled? So the mind can only be controlled. See, one has to stimulate the mind in Krishna conscious engagements. So much rigorous enough that it is not able to come out. Like it is said, chant swiftly. No, chant swiftly. So the mind is catching. The mind is not able to catch. And therefore the mind is not lost. The moment mind is able to catch, it will just jump off. Like that. So one has to stimulate the mind in Krishna conscious engagements. That means what? It means that actually that is why in Krishna consciousness one should not just pass on uh, with steady, comfortable practice, easygoing practice. The moment it becomes easygoing, the Sangharsha is gone. Immediately one should take up more challenges in Krishna consciousness, in service to Srila Prabhupada. Only if we do that can we control our mind. The mind can be stimulated. अरे ये क्या आ गया? What is this challenge? ये challenge कैसे पूरा होगा? टक 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 टक. Mind is not able to come out. Challenge, challenge. So mind gets stimulated in that sense, trapped in the chakravyuh of the challenge. Challenge means that which is beyond our capacity. If something is within our capacity, then where is the question of challenge? Like you just said, okay, Prabhu, can you eat one chapati prasad? What is the challenge in that? One may say, okay, one chapati prasad. No, no. Can you eat one rasgulla prasad? So very nice. Give. Two you give. No problem. I can take. But if you say, okay, can you eat 400 rasgulla prasad in one go? Oh, challenge. My God, 400. How to put it? Ella? Where to put it? Ella? One mouth will fall short. Ella? One food pipe will fall short. Is it not? Ella? So there's a challenge. Challenge means that which is beyond capacity. That is what is the meaning of challenge. So Krishna conscious engagements one has to take in that way. So that which is beyond the capacity, then the mind loses coordinates and equilibrium because it is beyond our capacity. So it gives that kind of anxiety, overthrowing, overblowing anxiety. And because of that, the mind is saying, hey, अभी क्या करना है ना? कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ना? And then the mind gets tamed by that, engaged by that, absorbed by that. So So rather than we being blown by mind's whirlpool, we have to create the whirlpool of challenges and responsibilities in Krishna's engagement and let the mind be tossed around it. And thus, the centrifuge of the mission, of the missionary dynamism, in the centrifuge of the missionary dynamism, let the mind get dissolved. That's how we can control the mind. Yeah. Krodha Vegam. Growth is very important to control. Sometimes people think that, okay, anybody who is giving service under me is an allotted resource for me where I can dump out all my anger and frustrations. So sometimes managers they feel like that, and anybody subordinate under them. So these managers sometimes they act like Vasuki emitting fire, and burning off everybody. And then they say, नहीं नहीं प्रभु जी सर गर्म हो गया अरे सर गर्म हो गया तो आग क्यों उगल रहे हो so they say नहीं नहीं मैनेजमेंट में चलता है प्रभु जी so and Raisham Prabhu came up with another definition of management. He said management doesn't mean doing the job effectively and as expected. And doing the job effectively as is expected, all through with a cool head. That is called as management. No krodha, because krodha means what? Krodha means operation successful, but everybody would be dead, including us, because we think we can only emit fire. That is the biggest mistake. So sometimes we feel that only we can emit fire. But when people start emitting fire, and we cannot handle it. So that is why better not emit fire. Like one devotee was asking Radhesham, Prabhuji, I feel very angry. What should I do? Radhesham was telling, hey, whenever you feel angry, you remember Narsimhadev. He's bursting out of the pillar. Just meditate on that and keep visualizing that form. Ugram Biram Mahavishnu, and then you will be able to understand. Oh, what Lord Narasimhadev is showing. Lord Narasimha says, you feel you can become angry. I can become a million times angry than you. Nonsense. Be quiet. That's what Lord Narasimhadev is teaching. Meditate on that, Narasimhadev. Like that. So you see the point. The krodha has to be controlled. Uh, so the krodha has to be controlled. So growth is like everything it devastates. Growth is like atom bomb. Everything it devastates. So very dangerous actually. The fit of anger, person may speak something, do something. Whole life that relationship may get spoiled. It may be very terrible offense also. Just a few moments of nonsense, and it may be uh, like some devotee becoming angry and slapping another devotee. Even in dream, one should not think of that. You know? Or sometimes some devotee is abusing another devotee. Very shabby display of anger. It has to be controlled. Mr. Nai Prabhuji, vague. It comes like that. It is not able to control. What do you mean not able to control? This vega is like anger is like vomiting. Now one understands I am getting vomiting. Wherever one is, one will vomit. Will one do that? Suppose one has got to Microsoft interview. They are just about to give you the offer letter. The interview is just done and they are just signing on the main thing. And we feel like vomiting. We vomit on the table in front of them. Can we do that? Vomiting also comes like a vega. Can one vomit anywhere? No, is it not? So when vomiting comes, what do people do? They put a hand on their mouth and they run to the washroom. Is it not? So when we feel angry, what we should do? Put a hand on our mouth and we should run. That is what we should do, not blurt it out. So sometimes I used to feel that okay, angry fellows should can keep a boxing pad. Whenever they become angry, they can run and they can vent out all their anger. Then I got a better idea than that. The better idea was go and cook. So all your passion will go off. All your lust and passion will go off in physical menial service. Like that. So the see as an ongoing preparation to ward off anger, a devotee should not harbor feelings of should not allow feelings of insecurity to percolate in one's life. When one feels existential crisis, one feels very angry. You are taking away, my existential whatever, footing or whatever. So that may lead one to anger because sometimes anger is what uh, fight or flight. No, anger is fight. Anger is fight. Fear is flight. So anger is fight. So one may feel that, oh, the ground on which I'm standing is being taken away. I cannot allow this. Now come what may, either he or me. That kind of anger comes when one. Uh, but why do we keep ourselves in that position of insecurity? That's so much insecure about anything and everything. That is why a devotee should work to broaden one's perspectives, to broaden one's footing. Like say one devotee. He was running. He was in charge of a voice. He was running a voice. He was preaching very nicely. And then one of the temples, the management, what they did is that they decided to take away that voice from him and give him some other seva. When he heard that he could not take it up, he became so angry. He left the temple. He said, "How can you take away my seva? No, I raised it so many years, like a seed from scratch. I have raised it, built it like that. How can you give it to somebody else? How can you do that?" So he couldn't handle that. So couldn't handle that. So it came as a Vega, you see. So why he couldn't handle? Because there was too much identification with that voice, it seems. And therefore, when that is taken out, then one feels that hey, my life is taken away. How can I? And then the explosion like that. So that is why one should, it is important not to keep ourselves, in a game of insecurity, like that. So okay, so then what should one do if I have successfully raised one voice? What should I do? Oh, we should go and raise another voice because if you have three, if somebody takes away one, no problem, is it not? Like you see, people invest in many shares, even if one fails, that's called as intelligence. So similarly, uh, so yes, obviously one should be not attached to the particular service falashruti, but one should be attached to the service attitude per se. Radhanath Maharaj did not do that. 10 preaching projects he was successfully handling. And he was asked, you sit down. He was on a transit, Mumbai airport. Transit means 4 hours, 5 hours, 7 hours. And then he was told, you sit here only now. What about my projects? Forget it. What about the success? Forget it. What about the candies? Forget it. So he did not say, okay, I leave ISKCON. I leave you. He said, okay. So he made a combination of all 10 voice projects in the form of the community in Mumbai. Like that. So the point is, the krodha comes. So therefore we have to watch our attachments. You see proper disciples, how they were so unattached. Prabhupada would move them here, there, everywhere. Is it not? Gopal Krishna Maharaj was so nicely situated in New York. And Prabhupada said, hey, you go to India. Huh? He came to India. Is it not? He did not say, Prabhupada, you know how many years it takes to get no, the whatever PR or citizenship of Canada and America, Do you have some idea, how many years it takes to do MBA, how many years it takes to get a position? No, nothing actually. He didn't ask anything. Prabhupada just moved, no? Here, there, everywhere. Prabhupada said Tamal Krishna Maharaj to get out of Radha Damodar bus party. That day it ended. The Maharaj came out. He didn't say, what? Do you know Radha Damodar bus party is, I mean, Prabhupada knew everything. Radha Damodar bus party was the most successful project, Sankirtan project happening at that time. It was shaking up everything. That's why Prabhupada told him to get out. So Maharaj agreed. He accepted. Not that he. So, so one should not attach oneself or identify oneself. Therefore, it is said only one kind of identification is allowed for a Vaishnava. That is identification with the spiritual master, with the instructions and the missions of the spiritual master. The more one identify that okay, I belong to my guru. That is my identification. I belong to Srila Prabhupada, that is my identification. Then one will not be thrown off by small, small ups and downs. Sometimes some devotees feel, oh, if this is pure process, how can there be problems in ISKCON temples? And if there can be problems in your own home, with your own parents, inside your own mind and heart, why can't there be problem inside ISKCON? Simple logic. But some devotees get too much agitated. What is there to get too much agitated? What are you identifying with? Yeah. So if the identification is okay because there are problems, so now I'm not getting the needs or the balam rights or the space I wanted, and therefore I cannot tolerate it. No, why can't we wait for time to heal it? Why can't we wait for Krishna and Prabhupada, to act? Even the problem creators and the problem enhancers, they get purified in due course of time. But do we have the patience to stay on? For that, we have to control the Krodha Vegam. That is the point. Okay, let's go ahead. The Jiva Begum. I think this needs charging because it'll go off otherwise. Sale only, but somehow it does. As for the urges of the tongue, we all experience that the tongue wants to eat palatable dishes. Well, generally, we should not allow the tongue to eat according to its choice. Yes, but should control the tongue by supplying prasad. And you know this is there is a way to control the urge of the tongue. One should take prasad. See, Prabhu is saying one should take prasad at scheduled times and should not eat in restaurants or sweetmeat shops simply to satisfy the wings of the tongue or the belly. If you stick to the principle of taking only prasad, the urges of the belly and the tongue can be controlled. See, this is interesting. It's got more weight on this side. In a similar manner, the urges of the genital sex impulse can be controlled when not used unnecessarily. Uh, the genitals should be used to beget a Krishna conscious child, otherwise, they should not be used. The Krishna conscious movement encourages marriage not for the satisfaction of genitals but for the begetting of Krishna conscious children. As soon as our children are a little grown up, they are sent to Gurukul school where they are trained to become fully Krishna conscious devotees. Many such Krishna conscious children are required, and one who is capable of bringing forth Krishna conscious offspring is allowed to utilize his genitals. So, tongue, belly, genitals, they are in one line, as is being explained. See, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that, see, prasad, one should accept prasad. One of the meaning of, now see, what is prasad? Prasad means, prasad means what Krishna has tasted. And so, therefore, actually, prasad means what we don't know what it is. What we decide that, okay, tomorrow we are going to have this, you know, that is not the real sense of the term offering prasad. You know? We cannot say, okay, you know, tomorrow Jagannath is wanting no, some pizza prasad. No? So sometimes devotees say like that. So that is not good consciousness. Prasad means till the time it falls on the plate, we don't know what it is. And after it falls on the plate and after receiving prayers, whatever it is, you should happily take it. You know? Even if it is brinjal prasad or karela prasad or what is that? Yeah, papita prasad or that parmal or potawal prasad or no, jhinga prasad or chichinda, no, kakarol, no. There are many nice, very nice, sometimes very nice kinds of prasad in Bengal. So whatever it is, one should take it. And if we take it with a spiritual consciousness, everything will appear tasty. One may say one will be ecstatic. Haripo. So like that. So one will be ecstatic. So because it's all conditioning, it's all modes, it's all training and tuning. We think this is good, that is bad. Na? महापुरुष says ना ये भला ये मंदा ये सब छल ना? All this is bogus game. This is good, this is bad, this is all bogus game. Krishna has taken it, we happily accept it. So prasad means we are not fussy about it. Whatever comes, therefore to control the jiva vega, what is most essential is we don't decide the menu. Whatever is cooked, happily we take it without showing any expressions. No faces, no nose twists, not like that. I mean, we can show positive expression, Hari Pol, what an ecstatic, like that. That is fine, but no eccentric off track expressions, like that. That is the meaning of prasad. They're taking it in the quality of prasad, consciousness of prasad. So one should not. So if this is our attitude, you will see our taste can change. I don't speak theories. Our tastes can change. The power of Krishna consciousness is very powerful. Our tastes can change. So with spiritual consciousness, our tastes can change, and anything which is cooked and offered to Krishna, immediately we can relish the bhakti in that. And along with bhakti, taste also will count because everything has its taste. You need to have a specific frequency to tune it. Because I remember when I came to Bengal here in Calcutta, so in the afternoon Rajbhog, they offer all Bengali sabjis, everything in Bengali made and Bengali style and all that to the Supreme Lord. Well, I was not so much excited about Rajbhog Prasad at that time, because it was a completely different frequency of a taste, like that. And then I would wonder, ah, I mean, is this some cherished thing to be offered to the Lord? Anyways, I was not able to understand that time. So then I understood the problem is not in Rajbhog. The problem is in my conditioning of the tastes. And that conditioning can change if he has spiritual consciousness. Like that. So so this is the point. Which we have to understand. See how proper disciples accepted simple rice prasad, simple dal prasad, simple sabji prasad. They're not used to all that. Well, in America, who eats rice dal? Who eats rice dal in America? They have very sophisticated kind of preparations, like that. And yeah, no, any sophisticated. They eat cakes, different kinds of cakes, and pizzas, and so many other things and all that. So how they could develop? Because they saw it spiritually, no? They saw it coming from no? the Vrindavan, no? So they accepted everything. Even so, devotees would hanker for khichdi, We hardly make it in our menu, khichdi, like that. Huh? 1 day, 2 days, like that. Melbourne Temple, all 7 days. Melbourne Temple, all 7 days breakfast is khichdi prasad. Then one devotee brought about a change. He started making 1 day upma prasad, and that was the delicacy legacy. So some devotees were inviting me to come. Then I said, okay, I can come. No, they were saying, can you come Tuesday? Can you come Wednesday for prasad? Some kirtans and prasad. I said, I cannot come Tuesday, Wednesday. I can come Saturday, It's a holiday also, and we can have a nice time. He said, okay, yes, Prabhu. But then he said, oh, wait, Prabhu. It is a feast today. I said, what feast? He said, Prabhu, the temple, it's a feast, no? It's a feast preparation, feast breakfast. I said, what feast? I said, Upma Prasad. So And I said, "Oh, this has to be no, this has to be very thoroughly understood by the KGP devotees because they feel upma means upma. Is it a prasad? So like that, you know." But I remember 2010 when I came in Sankalpa camp, I had prepared upma. I had cooked upma. I remember that I had put that in the menu. Next day, Chagadhari Prabhu had come, so he had put pasta. Nobody took other than the no, non-first years. You know? None of the first years took it because they couldn't understand what it is. You know, so only the fourth year, fifth years, they were like pouncing on it, like wanted to dive inside. So you see, the taste buds have to be controlled with spiritual consciousness. Uh, I remember one time I was, I don't know, I was, so why I was in charge, and I remember now. So I was in charge of the Mahaprasadam fruits for some time, and I never misused that service. So, so I was in charge of the Mahaprasadam fruits. Why I was in charge? Because I was health in charge. So I was given the full license of Mahaprasad fruits to be given to the health devotees, those who are sick, those who are in need of, like that. So, uh, so I remember one of the senior devotees in Pune, Ramananda Prabhu. He was, so I was carrying this plate of Mahaprasad fruits in the Brahmachari ashram, and and Prabhu happened to pass by, and by Prabhu's gaze, I could understand that Prabhu wanted something, like that. So I happily gave him, you know, and I gave him. He didn't accept. He said no. I said no, Prabhu, you can take. He said no. Uh, I said no, Prabhu, I'll manage. Other devotees, all health devotees, and all everything will be okay. You can take. He said no, not like this. He said you do all your services, all the health devotees, everything. After that, uh, so the protocol was if something remained, then I would put it at the prasadam area, like that. He said if something remains, he said a particular time. He said that time, he said if it comes there and something remains, I'll take it from there. No, not this way. This is not the process. The standard process is you do your service, go through, like that. After that, he said 7 p.m. Uh, out there, if something remains, then I will take it. Otherwise, no problem. He did not accept. See, this is the way to control jiva. My God, another time, another temple. There used to be the key moment, explosive moment would be the ending of the brahmachari class. The ending of the brahmachari class, the Mahaprasad fruits will come. All, all inside the brahmachari ashram. I mean, that's not wrong because in one sense, I mean, that is not wrong. But what do the brahmacharis, they don't keep fruits for themselves. They don't buy things for themselves. Whatever comes of its own accord, it comes to them. So, okay, some temples they distribute Mahaprasad to newcomers, visitors. That is not wrong. That is to encourage them. Some keep it for the brahmachari. That is also not wrong because brahmacharis, where do they consider, uh, they don't have separate lockers of their own things and stuff and all that. Many of them just whatever comes of its own accord they accept, not like that. So it was not at all wrong. I mean, there was nothing wrong in that move, but it was an explosive movement. The explosive is what, not like that. And as soon as the class would end, everybody will, not like, what is that? Something as a firecracker, it goes up, no? Like a rocket, they would jump up, and they would land right at the Mahaprasad. I mean, that fruit plate, like that, and take it, So the most they would be very enthusiastic, spike enthusiastic, like that. So they would bounce like an explosion, boom, like that. So it won't be 30 seconds also, and it would be off, finished, like that. So, uh, but sometimes, so owing to that, what would happen? Some of them will get it, others will never get it. Like that. So therefore, if one has to get over Jiva vegan, then one has to control this kind of tendency also. You know, this kind of tendency also. So the uh, that is why we say Jiva Begum. One should be very careful about okay, what is allotted to us? How much is the quota? Is it meant for us? Whom it is meant for? No? And one should be very no? So there are some no, 5 6 questions one should ask before one should touch it. Like that. First of all, not that okay, we see prasad, then we forget everything else. Ah, prasad, and no, or some palatable prasad, immediately one pauses, not understanding. So first of all, for whom it is meant for, who has cooked it, for what purpose, when it is supposed to be served, is it offered, when did the Lord honor in it? Uh, Even if it is supposed to be served, uh, how much is quota for everyone? So after ascertaining all that, one should take it. That's how we can control our jiva. So then there is udara vegam. See, belly also has a vega. One may say, what is that belly vega? The belly vega is sometimes people just want to eat, 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 like that. I remember I myself became my weight was around 72 or something like that when I passed out, 74 or something. And one day I was in Calcutta ashram. I realized my weight was 95. I became a potato. No, 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 not potato. Pumpkin. 95. Can you imagine 95? Hitting a century not out. Like that. Somebody told me you will be bowled out before that only. With so many diseases and all that. So I became very much alarmed. Then I was realizing what happened. I was not very fussy about eating palatable things and all that. But then I was meditating and journeying that sometimes what happened is that over a period of time, no, over a period of time, I increased the quantity of my intake by default only. I was eating a good amount of rice. And Bengal devotees eat rice like this, like a full cup, you know, like that. So I don't know, seeing or whatever, like that. The quantity of rice prasad which I would eat would be. I would not eat much rice, dal, and some sabji prasad. Not no much, and no much even kakrol sabji or whatever sabji. But then how that no Humpty Dumpty. That is upasta begum, udara begum. Sorry, not upasta, udara begum. That is udara begum. One just wants to eat, eat, eat. Therefore, one has to be careful enough to limit the quantity. Sometimes, even if it is not something super palatable, but just one wants to drag it. That drag is the udar begum actually. So I realized that, hey, I never used to eat so much rice before. And see, then what happens is that if you go into that habit, and if you don't eat that much, then it'll pain because you're in that habit. So to get back, you have to struggle a lot then. Yeah, because it'll pain, feel as if I'm hungry, भूख जितना लगेगा उतना ही खाएंगे ना प्रभु. I understand. There is a udara vegam inside. It is not भूख जितना लगेगा उतना ही खाएंगे. भूख is dependent on jiva and then udara. उसका भी share है. Both we have to recognize. Both effects we have to recognize. Therefore, one has to limit. One has to limit like that. And upastha, Prabhupada explains, best is upastha is not put to any use. No doubting. The genitals, forget it. You know, like that. Forget the urge of the genitals. And obviously, for a grahastha, one who wants to raise Krishna conscious children, wants to take the responsibility and do that service, one can use it very carefully only for that purpose. For most period of the time, the genitals have no much good use in Krishna consciousness. For most period of our lives. So one has to forget it. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings are based on these principles. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Balana khaibe, balana paribe. So don't eat something palatable. So what if we are liking to eat something? If we are very much wanting to eat something, one should just convince the mind, no problem. Krishna has heard us. Whenever the Lord wants and gives it to us in the quantity which is decided by the Lord through the management, you know, then we can take it. That's it, is it not? So it'll be controlled. So one has to put these regulations. One has to put these regulations. In this way, one adopts. See, the same principle of controlling the Vegas, which Rupa Goswami Pad is explaining, the same Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Bhalana Kaibe, Bhalana Paribe, means regulation on all frontiers. Gramya Katha na kahibe, Gramya Katha na sunibe. Means what? Instantiations may differ, but what it means regulation on all fronts actually. And that systematic process is very important to inculcate in our lives, and we have to struggle for it, you know. This is tapasya. See Prabhupada saying by such tapasya one can overcome the victimization of the material energy. What a powerful falashruti. If we have this tapasya, what will happen? We can overcome the victimization of the material energy. Powerful, na? Okay, so I think let's stop here for today. I only read a small part of the puppet. The remaining devotees, we would request everyone can read. You can read yourself. So next week we'll take up NOI 2. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Rupa Goswami Pad ki jai. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.